Today on the TMZ Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the TMZ Podcast. I'm Charlie Cotton and I'm joined by TMZ's most lovable lawyer.
I don't know about lovable, but I'm here.
Derek Kaufman.
Good to be here.
Derek Kaufman's here. We got some really interesting stories today. Firstly, we're going to talk about Jamie Foxx. Well, he's in a rehab facility, apparently playing pickleball with his family by his side. We'll also talk about the Scandoval answers are all coming out, and we've got a few of them for you. And finally, we'll talk about K-Fed, Britney Spears' ex. Well, he's taken the kids and they're moving to Hawaii.
I haven't heard that name in a while, but he needs involvement in a Britney story, right? So
he does.
Now he's here.
Firstly, though, Jamie Foxx. Well, what we know at the moment is that he is at a rehab facility that specializes in stroke recovery and traumatic brain injury. Now, that's obviously not great on the face of it, but his daughter did say on Instagram stories a couple of days ago that he's playing pickleball.
Yeah, and then she said it as sort of to calm down the media that had been spinning wildly because they've been so tight-lipped and keeping everything so tight to the vest that it's hard to know what's going on with such a big celebrity. So it sounded like Corinne was saying, okay, just everything's getting a little out of hand here. My father's not in a hospital. He's in a rehab center. She wanted to clarify that. And I think that's good clarification because when you have an immediate medical emergency, you go to a hospital and you get everything stabilized. And she's like, he's not at that kind of facility. What he is he had some sort of medical emergency and now he's recovering from it at a rehab center. It's still quite serious, and this facility in Chicago, as you said, specializes in stroke recovery and traumatic brain injuries. It does other things as well, but there are some tea leaves that maybe this was a brain event, a stroke of some sort. I am very, very nervous still. I think she's trying to calm the waters, but saying someone is playing pickleball, what they continue to not say, and what we want to know about Jamie Foxx is he communicating verbally or otherwise? I think physically he may be up and playing some form of adaptive pickleball.
Good.
That's good. These are good things. But I want to know, is he talking? I want to see a video of him. Is he writing down to communicate?
Didn't they say that he was making jokes and that sort of stuff? Unless he's doing hand puppets like that, he's talking.
I would hope so. I mean, it sounds like making jokes, although again vague. And if he is making jokes, what would really calm people's nerves is seeing him, right?
Why have they been so tight-lipped? I mean, obviously, it's a family, private matter, but a lot of celebrities, say with Jeremy Renner recently, when the snowplow incident happened, that was everywhere fast. And also, he was posting from the hospital a couple days later. We saw him at his rehab facility, on the treadmill, we saw all of it. So, I mean, there's different ways to deal with these sort of traumatic experiences, but why do you think that they're being so, holding it close to the chest?
It's such a great point. Here's my, look, we're speculating here. Jeremy Renner was run over by a snowplow. So the worry with him was his body is mangled, and to put people at ease, he showed videos of himself pretty beat up, but not mangled. He had his arms and legs. People were thinking about severed limbs. I mean, your mind could go crazy thinking about what this gigantic snowplow did to his body. With Jamie Foxx, and look, how you handle this is a private family matter, and they are both of them are entitled to handle it however they want. Jeremy Renner happened to put out pictures. He didn't have to. He did an interview with Diane Sawyer. You don't have to do that. Jamie Foxx, I think, is different because Jamie Foxx is so dynamic of a personality. He's a singer. He's an actor. He's always over the top. He does impressions. He's so colorful that I think he doesn't want people to see him in a state where he has been diminished from those qualities because it's hard to unsee that. Like if the public sees him in, and we don't know, in a state where he is, close to vegetative or not communicative or something like that, it's going to scar people. So they want to see if that will improve so that he can emerge just fine again.
That's why it does concern me though, that they haven't sort of
very much
tried to prove that he's going to be okay. And to spend weeks in hospital, to spend weeks in a rehab facility. It's often if you have some really bad injury, you'll be home at a certain point. You go to the hospital, maybe you get rehab, but you'll be living at home. His whole family's coming to visit him. That's and
in general, to your point, it's better to recover at home. Hospitals want to get you out once they stabilize you because you recuperate better as a human around loved ones in your own setting. It's only you stay in these facilities only if you really need it, right? And so, and maybe for the sake of privacy, being in a rehab center is better than being at home where the paps would surround his house or something like that. So there could be reasons. I'm just preparing myself for a different Jamie Foxx. I'm not happy about it. It's very, very concerning. But I hope he emerges. I hope he recovers completely, and that this is a distant memory. But I'm nervous about it. When I hear these stories, they don't make me calmer about it. They make me more anxious.
Yeah, I mean, if he's had some sort of serious stroke or some sort of traumatic brain injury where he has to spend this long at hospital and rehab, then we may not get sort of like, the A-list actor, acting in various films, stand-up comedian, going on late-night shows.
There's no one like him, right? Can you imagine a Jamie Foxx toned down? It'd be one thing if there was like a serious, sober, just dramatic actor, but he's comedic, he's dramatic, he does everything. He plays instruments.
He's kind of like, we've talked about this before, he's like America's sweetheart. And and also widely regarded as the most talented entertainer in the
always
country.
Tops that list.
He always tops that list. So for him to go through such an event, and I mean, it'll be great if he makes it out the other side and can live a full life. And he doesn't belong to us. Like if he doesn't, if he can't sort of like go on the screen anymore or make us laugh, then as long as he's got his health and happiness, then that'll be one thing. But it seems as if
here's the good news, bad news. I'd say for Jamie Foxx, he's not that old, but he's not that young. But he's at an age where you can recover from this and move on.
Can you make a full recovery from something like this?
I think you can. I think he's in his 50s. If Jamie Foxx were an elder statesman in his 80s and had something like this go on, I'd be very concerned that this is just sort of the finish line. I don't think that's the case for Jamie Foxx.
You can fully recover from such a traumatic, yes.
I think he's still at the age where you can fully recover, get all of your faculties, speak, be funny again. There may be a few sort of diminishments around the corners, because when he emerges, everyone's going to be looking for, like, is he slurring? Is he completely there? Like,
you're right.
That the level of scrutiny Jamie Foxx is going to endure after he gets out, you can't imagine, because they've kept it so tight that everyone's going to be so curious. The microscope is going to be sitting on his face in every interview, looking for, is his eye twitching? Is he, So I don't think he's looking forward to that. Yeah, I think he wants to get himself as right as can be before he emerges.
Right, but I mean, as we say, the fact that he's up. And you would assume, like, running about, playing pickleball potentially, at least he's got, use of his cognitive and motor skills enough that he could do something like that requires hand-eye coordination.
Sure.
That, so yeah, I'd love to see him communicating. Same. I mean, but also we don't deserve anything, obviously the family handles it as they handle it, and we'll just keep crossing our fingers for him.
Yeah, everyone's pulling for him.
Okay, on to the next story. Well, all the Scandoval answers are coming out finally, because the finale is tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And Vanderpump Rules, they just dropped a new teaser, please come and watch the whole episode. And it is a good little tidbit. Well, we got a bit of sound now from the teaser. Ariana's telling some of her friends about what happened.
So I went with Tom to Tom because he had that party thing. I found a screen recording of them on FaceTime.
Oh my God.
It was literally from the night before. He was at Schwartz's.
He was at Schwartz's doing this?
Yeah.
What?
That's when I called Raquel and I started making her tell me what the when did this start? She said, right after the girls' trip. I'm like, you mean right after Charlotte died? So she said they kissed. Well, later that night when we were out here, I pressed Tom. He said, well, they actually in her car that night.
Right after Charlotte died?
Well, Charlotte's a dog.
I know. the drama of this show is they all speak with such a flat affect, but you're supposed to go, in the wake of Charlotte's passing. What's interesting about this is the timeline of the show kind of caught up to reality, where this is now the revelation of the affair, which has always been such an incredible storyline. I thought all of this was going to be dealt with in the reunion, and that the filming had stopped by the time the affair was discovered, but there was still a little bit more filming.
No, this is what happened. When the affair started coming out and people started knowing about it in the inner circle,
Andy Cohen grabbed them cameras.
They grabbed them cameras. They'd already finished shooting the finale, and that finale aired last week. So this is like a double finale that they went, pick the cameras back up, guys. We got some more tea. And so they ran to their houses. They got this footage, what we just heard the audio clip from, and started rolling. But yeah, it seems like Raquel and Tom, it all came out because they banged in a car.
Yes.
They banged in a car because Ariana goes to confront...
When you can't find a house.
Well, I mean,
You got to do what you got to do.
I know, and that can be quite fun,
Yeah, and listen, it's hard to find a place to do these illicit affairs, right?
Right.
So you got to find a car sometimes.
Because Tom shares a house with Ariana, so you
can't do it there.
Well, I mean, maybe
awkward.
Maybe you could if you wanted to be a bit more risky.
Sure.
But I think they chose a car. Hopefully, it's a SUV or some bigger type car, so you can really get it going.
Maybe put the seats back. Yeah.
Yeah,
recline.
you've been there.
Yeah, I've been there. We've all been there.
I
haven't, but you probably have.
And so when Ariana confronted Raquel to begin with, Raquel just said, "Look, we just kissed." And obviously that's enough to like send you like super angry. And so then she confronted Tom, said, "Look, we banged in the car." After all of this comes out, Tom has to get back inside like the family home. But he's lost his key.
Yeah.
And so she has to be there, like open the door for him.
And apparently it took her a period of time, and he was angry.
He was angry at her.
This is the problem with Tom, because the levels of treachery we've debated in the room. I think you're like, look, Ariana wasn't having enough sex with him, so it's kind of, you think of that as sort of a soft excuse for looking elsewhere. I don't. I think he should have broken up with her and found someone to have sex with her. But putting that aside, this guy, has sex in a car with his mistress, or whatever you want to call it when it's a long-term relationship, not a marriage, and then goes to his door, can't find his key, and yells at his current girlfriend because he's angry that she didn't get to the door quickly enough when he forgot his key. The temerity, the gall of this guy is jaw-dropping, that he wouldn't be bashful and sort of embarrassed and act differently. He's acting like a jerk.
Well, he goes on the front foot. You know what I mean? He the best form of defense is offense. Is that the saying?
Apparently Tom buys that.
And so like he was like, it's kind of like a deny type thing.
Sure.
Where it's just like, no, it's gaslighting as well. Like, you're the crazy one.
Because if he had behaved differently, she might have been like, well, where were you? Like if he was all like sort of nervous and sweaty and something and sort of like bashful and his personality deviated, she would have thought something's up. But if he's just a jerk and he's a jerk all the time, lead with your front foot.
I think he'd been a jerk for a while. And obviously, look, I don't think that, having sex 4 times a year is a reason to cheat on someone. I just think that was emblematic.
Period.
I think that was emblematic of their relationship deteriorating for, a number of years. And obviously Tom had one foot out for a long time.
Yeah.
Ariana really was trying to cling on to something, although Tom was trying to break up with her for a while. And so I'm just saying that what he did
does that mean? I always hear trying to break up with her. Pull the plug.
Well,
he has entire agency to say I'm done with this. Whether you get clingy or not, it doesn't matter. The relationship's over in my mind.
It's hard to break up with someone.
Difficult, yeah.
Especially if you own a house together. I'm just saying it's you can't just leave and walk off forever. And so yeah, this situation is so messy, and we're going to find out all the answers on the finale. Are you a Vanderpump Rules watcher? Are you gonna?
The finale of the show, I probably don't care about all that much. I'll follow as we do it, but the reunion I do want to see. For some reason, I see the entirety of these shows as a prelude to the live reunions where they just discuss what happened in the season and fight. That's what I'm in for. It's the raw conflict. I don't want to see them shopping and speaking in flat affects and nobody knowing what's going on. I like when all the Band-Aids are ripped off and they go at each other. Yes. I like it on Housewives. I'll watch the Vanderpump reunion because I think that's where you get the real fireworks. You need the season to develop those storylines, but that's what I like.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be a fantastic reunion. They've been teasing it for long enough, and now we're going to finally get all our answers to all of the Vanderpump Rules drama. I mean, I wonder how long they can keep this sort of
We've questioned whether it'll run out of steam before they get to this point, but I think they have enough steam. This will provide the last little burst of energy going into the reunion.
Very good.
I'm in again.
And rest in peace, Charlotte.
Rest in peace, Charlotte. Yeah.
We hardly knew ye.
Sort of a casualty of this whole affair. Yeah.
Right. Finally, another big story, I think. K-Fed, Britney Spears' ex, Kevin Federline. Well, he's taking their 2 sons and they're moving to Hawaii.
He wants to, at least. We'll see if it happens, but yeah.
He wants to. He thinks he can get it done. Britney Spears, can say yay or nay, but they hope she's going to say yay because she hasn't really had a relationship with the sons, hasn't seen them in a year and a half. And now their stepmom, K-Fed's wife, she's got a new job in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. So they want to move there. K-Fed thinks that there's DJ opportunities in Hawaii. So
strong demand for Popo Zao over
maybe in Waikiki.
Yeah, potentially.
You're the lawyer. So if Britney Spears says, no, I do not want my sons moving to Hawaii, would a judge, say, sure, they can go, or would they say, okay, Britney doesn't want him there, the mum doesn't want him there, okay, we'll keep him here? in LA?
Her feelings will be taken into account, but only so much because their relationship is so strained. It's so publicly strained. She hasn't seen them. They live apparently 100% of the time with K-Fed at this point, sort of a de facto arrangement. De facto just means that's how it works, not necessarily how it's written down. But as a practical matter, they are living with K-Fed. He, as a legal matter, has 100% legal custody. Legal custody is just the ability to make decisions on behalf of your kids. Physical custody is your right to house the kids. So legally, this is a decision, right? It's like a medical decision. Does the kid want to sort of get this vaccine? Does the kid want to go to this school? Those are legal custody issues, and he controls that. Where the people live is usually a legal custody decision, although it's a little bit mingled with physical custody because the decision where to live impacts who has physical custody. Yeah. So just because you have legal custody, you can't use it to undermine someone's physical custody. So Britney might say, yeah, he's got decision-making rights, but I have, even though they're living full-time with K-Fed now, I have the right to live with my kids.
But
and if I want to, now I have to go to Hawaii to do it. So the judge might give her a little bit of leeway with that. I think they'll be able to move.
She hasn't seen them in 18 months. And clearly, from stuff they've done on social media, they've even had interviews where they basically say, a mum's kind of embarrassment. We don't.
They didn't go to her wedding.
We don't go to their wedding. We don't really, we don't have that mother-son type bond that you might hope for. And the sons are team K-Fed, you know what I mean?
Yeah, look, he raised them. And he did a good job. K-Fed came out of the gates a strange figure in all this. He was certainly not someone you were rooting for when he was with Britney. He seemed like the guy who was dragging the starlet down. And now that narrative is completely inverted because when we see K-Fed out, we see him grocery shopping a lot, and he looks like a doting father. He's for all his sort of antics when they were dating and what his impact was on Britney, differing minds can have different judgments on that. But it looks like he's been a good dad. I don't think anyone would say that he's not been attentive and actually pretty stand-up guy. So if he wants to take the kids to Hawaii because it'll calm matters down a little bit, they won't have to deal with that drama in their backyard, I think the judge is going to be pretty receptive to it.
The thing is, Britney Spears, apparently her marriage isn't going good. Her sons might be moving away. She doesn't have a relationship with her, dad, mom, sister. Wow.
It's the price of freedom, man.
It's the price of freedom.
It really is. The Free Britney movement got her out, and we just did a documentary called Price of Freedom for Britney because here you go. Here's what it looks like when she's not under a conservatorship. Look, having your liberty taken away is no picnic, and that was very, very sad, and I think the movement had good intentions, but it doesn't seem to be going smoothly for Britney.
No, it does not.
So,
well,
great note to end on though, Charlie. Really uplifting.
On that beautiful note, thank you very much for joining me, Derek.
Always a pleasure.
Isn't it a pleasure? Never a chore. We'll
see you guys later.
See you tomorrow.